Welcome back, everybody, to Niners Now. I'm your host, Brady Grustas, at GrustasBrady on X. You can follow me there. And today is a great day. If you're having a rough day so far, then do not worry. I come bearing excellent news that will surely turn your frown upside down. If you're having a great day already, then congratulations, because I'm here to double it. Today, in this video, I will be dropping my official schedule predictions. That's right, I will be on the record, documented for the whole world to see. Now, I'm fully expecting this video to be clipped and my takes to be roasted when I am inevitably wrong about the 49ers schedule, but that's okay. It's all part of the job, and it will not stop me from delivering some rational, well-educated guesses to you all with as little bias as I can possibly implement. Now, before we begin, go ahead and subscribe down below, leave a like, leave a comment, and let's get into it. There's been a lot of conversation this offseason in particular about how the Niners' schedule this season is weaker than most. But let me remind you, everybody is 0-0 right now. Crazy things happen in the NFL. We'll never know exactly how this year is going to go. So I just want to put that disclaimer out there right now. With all that said, let's talk about week one. The Niners head to the Pacific Northwest and kick the season off against the hated Seattle Seahawks at Lumen Field. Now, history would lean slightly towards San Francisco here. Both teams usually start the year well. Seahawks are 5-1 in their last 6 season openers, and the Niners are 4-2. The Niners have won their last 3 games in Seattle, including last season's game, capped off by a long Isaac Guerendo run in which he fell down at the 1-yard line. The Seahawks look quite a bit different in year 2 of the Mike Macdonald era, though. DK Metcalf was shipped out and replaced with Cooper Kupp. Geno Smith was traded, and Seattle pivoted to Sam Darnold. And they finally addressed the interior offensive line with Gray Zabel in the first round, and they signed veteran pass rusher DeMarcus Lawrence. Seattle also brought in former 49ers assistant coach Clint Kubiak to be their offensive coordinator, reuniting him with Sam Darnold. With all that said, I've still got the Niners getting a win here. San Francisco still has the talent advantage, in my opinion. The Niners know Darnold well, and the Seattle offensive line is still a pretty big work in progress. A key matchup to watch, though, will be Jackson Smith-Njigba versus Deommodore Lenoir. There's been trash talk between those two all offseason, and I expect JSN to be in for a big year in this new offense. He's the most dangerous player on the Seahawks offense to me, so I have no doubt that Lenoir will take that matchup personally. Week 2 is another road game in New Orleans this time as the Niners take on the Saints. The Brandon Staley revenge game, if you will. I actually kind of like the young talent on this team, and I like Kellen Moore's chances to succeed as a head coach in this league, but right now that roster is just not very competitive overall. Although there are a lot of former 49ers on this squad. Chase Young, Isaac Yiadom, Brandon Staley, and even Dante Pettis are all employed by the Saints. I have the Niners taking a win here as well, but the key matchup for me will be the 49ers D-line versus the Saints O-line, which has some sneaky talent. Trevor Penning at left guard appears to be the weakest link right now, but the other 4 starters are all quite solid. Calvin Banks, Eric McCoy, Cesar Ruiz, and Talise Fuanga. This new-look 49ers D-line will have to assert their dominance to get a win in this game. On to week number 3 now, as the 49ers play their home opener versus the Arizona Cardinals. This game could certainly go either way. The Cardinals tend to give the Niners some trouble no matter how good San Francisco is, and with the Cardinals' revamped defensive line, now including Josh Sweat, Dalvin Tomlinson, first-round pick Walter Nolan, Calais Campbell, that unit is insanely deep. They've also got former first-rounder Darius Robinson. They've got Zaven Collins, B.J. Ojulari, and rookie Jordan Burch in that unit as well. Jonathan Gannon is building a scary front 7 in Arizona, and if rookie cornerback Will Johnson is a hit, then the Cardinals could win a whole lot of games very soon. I really like what the Cardinals have done this offseason, obviously. And once again, I'll point to the trenches as the matchup to watch here. This time, I've got to see how the Niners' offensive line holds up against this brand new Cardinals' defensive line. Gannon likes to run these versatile, unpredictable defenses, and with this offseason's talent infusion, I think it could be a real challenge for the 49ers to contain them. Many Niner fans expected Walter Nolan to be the pick at number 11, so I'm really curious to see how he performs against Ben Bartch, Jake Brendel, and Dominic Puni. Despite this tough matchup, though, I'm still taking the 49ers to win here. I don't think the Cardinals have anyone capable of covering George Kittle or Christian McCaffrey, and while their secondary is improved, I still think the Niners' passing game can exploit it. In week 4, the undefeated 49ers will be taking on Travis Hunter and the Jacksonville Jaguars at home. The Jags, of course, made the aggressive move to go get Hunter and brought in their new play caller, Liam Cohen, to fix last year's awful run game and help Trevor Lawrence finally become a star quarterback. They've got a talented roster, but they've been plagued by subpar coaching for years now. Shout out to former 49ers Nick Mullins and Eric Armstead, who are now Jaguars. If Cohen can have this team playing at their potential, they will certainly be playoff contenders. A key matchup to me is going to be Ricky Pearsall and or Jacob Cowing versus Jerry Jones and Jordan Lewis. Jacksonville has a great number 1 corner in Tyson Campbell, but if the young Niners receivers can exploit their own matchups, the offense should certainly lead this team to a win. I do predict that is what's going to happen. I think it'll be a pretty close game, but the 49ers come out on top by being a little more consistent and a little more efficient on offense. I'm thinking probably like a 31-24 or a 31-27 type of game. Week 5 is a short week, and it's another NFC West matchup. That's 3 already in the first 5 weeks of the season. This time it's on Thursday Night Football against the LA Rams in SoFi Stadium, or as we like to call it here on Niners Now, Levi's South. I will actually be in attendance at this game. Cannot wait. It'll be my first time at Levi's South. And if the team starts 4-0 like I'm predicting, then the SoFi seats will be full of red, as they often are. Unfortunately, I think the Niners do take their first loss here against the Rams. For a while, Shanahan had Sean McVay's number, but one of my more pessimistic predictions for the season is that we are entering an era of McVay dominance. The Rams defense is legit. They are young, they are mean, and they're playing winning football. And on offense, anytime you can add Devontae Adams, your team gets better. That trio of Matthew Stafford, Puka Nacua, and Devontae Adams is terrifying. For this game, I think the key matchup is going to be Fred Warner versus Stafford. I think the mental matchup will be just as challenging as the physical one, but there's nobody in this league that I'd trust more to quarterback and defense. For a Week 5 game, this one is pretty important. Niners go back on the road, though, for Week 6, taking the trip to Tampa Bay during their mini-bye. The Buccaneers will be a scrappy, physical team, just like they were last year. They're a very underrated team, and although the loss of Liam Cohen may hurt them, there's still plenty of talent for the new offensive coordinator, Josh Grizzard, to work with. In the first round, Tampa Bay added receiver Emeka Egbuka, bolstering an already potent passing attack with guys like Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Jalen McMillan. Running back Bucky Irving burst onto the scene last year, and Baker Mayfield played some pretty great football as well. But I think the key matchup will be Christian McCaffrey and the running backs versus the Tampa Bay run defense, specifically linebacker Levante David and D-tackle Vita Vea. This Tampa offense is explosive, so in order to beat them, the Niners need to control the time of possession and control the pace of the game. Long drives are fueled by an efficient running game. Unfortunately, I do think the Niners will drop another game here in what I'm sure will be an absolute slugfest. Really what it comes down to for me is that the Niners tend to struggle in those East Coast 10 a.m. road games. Even with the mini-bye for this one, I think the Buccaneers take it. For Week 7, the Niners come back home to Levi's to take on the Atlanta Falcons on Sunday Night Football. Atlanta also made an aggressive trade on draft night, moving up to take James Pierce Jr. after taking Jalen Walker earlier that night. These two joined former 49er Leonard Floyd on the edge for Raheem Morris and Jeff Ulbricht's defense. The offense features a young core of Michael Penix Jr., Bijan Robinson, Drake London, and former Niners punt returner Ray McLeod, who wears number 34 as a wide receiver. I do not know why he wears that number. Not sure if there's sentimental value there, but if there isn't, it's disgusting. I cannot believe that he's actually wearing 34. I also didn't realize how much the Falcons fans hate Kyle Shanahan. I guess I understand it. He's their scapegoat for losing the 28-3 Super Bowl, and he left them high and dry right after, but I was unaware that they still held so much vitriol for him. Maybe that explains why the Falcons tend to play us pretty hard. My key matchup for this game is definitely Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier versus the 49ers run defense, in particular our defensive tackles. The Falcons lost their center Drew Dahlman to the Bears this offseason, and although they still have 3-time All-Pro Chris Lindstrom, they're apparently starting Ryan Neuzil at center. I'll be honest, I consider myself a student of the league, and I take pride in knowing the players and their backgrounds, but I have never heard of Ryan Neuzil. So I'm going to need Alfred Collins and CJ West to take his lunch money on national TV, please and thank you. I've got the Niners winning this one. I think the improved run defense stalls this Atlanta offense, and I think the Niners win a big one on primetime to stop a losing streak. Heading into week 8 now, the Niners are 5-2, but they're back on the road to play DeMeco Ryans and the Houston Texans. The Texans threw resources at their offensive line this year, adding Cam Robinson, Laken Tomlinson, Ariante Ursary, and Trent Brown all in one offseason. They also brought in both Iowa State receivers from this draft class, Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel. CJ Stroud had a bit of a down year last year, but this offense is loaded with weapons, and after firing former 49ers coach Bobby Slowick, Houston is definitely expecting improved numbers. The defense is still young and still stacked, with cornerback duo Derek Stingley and Kamari Lassiter both really impressing last year. The key matchup here for San Francisco is definitely going to be the pass rush, and specifically Nick Bosa versus Cam Robinson. The Texans are a really hard team to beat, but the offensive line is the weakest unit of the team. Overwhelming the line and overwhelming Stroud is a good way to steal a win. Unfortunately, I do have the Niners losing this game as well, dropping to 5-3 and going 1-3 in the month of October. Not ideal. Week 9 now, 10 a.m. start time on the road at MetLife Stadium. The 49ers take on the New York Giants. The Giants could, in theory, have a good offense next year, with a young set of weapons and a whole host of new quarterbacks on the team now. Any one of them could be starting this game, so I'm not even going to guess which one it will be, but the story for me here is definitely the Giants' defense. Abdul Carter and Darius Alexander are two high-impact rookies on the defensive line. Javon Holland and Paulson Adebo got the bag to join the secondary. And suddenly, you look at the Giants roster and see real talent. That said, I do have the 49ers taking the win here. My key matchup is Colton McKivitz versus Brian Burns / Abdul Carter / Kayvon Thibodeau. McKivitz honestly had a pretty decent year last year, and he's an ascending player, but if he has one of his classic train wreck games here, I think the Giants defense is good enough to punish any mistakes from Brock Purdy. That said, please just play average Colton in this game. Week 10 is back at home against the Rams, and I'll make this one quick. I have the Niners getting swept this year by the Rams. I think now that McVay's figured out his defense, it'll be a while before the 49ers get a win in this matchup. Week 11 versus the Cardinals in Arizona. This one I'll pencil in as a loss. My gut tells me that the Niners split the series with the Cardinals this year. I think they're more talented than they were a year ago, and whether it's week 3 or week 11, I think one of these games is going to get super weird and the Niners lose, maybe on a Jake Moody missed game-winning kick. Sorry to open up old wounds. So we zoom pretty quickly past those last two division matchups. But to recap, I've got the 49ers at 6-5 at this point, after starting 4-0. I'm sure if this happens, we'll all talk about how the sky is falling, but I think the middle of the schedule is pretty comfortably the most difficult. Especially with a late bye week, this middle stretch could get pretty rocky for the Niners. That said, in week 12, they're back on primetime versus the Panthers on Monday night. This is going to be a big test. The Panthers aren't exactly playoff contenders, but I don't think they're pushovers either. Going from 4-0 to 6-5 would have the Niners reeling a bit, but I've got them taking a huge game here at home, massive get-right game, and I honestly think it's going to be a blowout. Reminds me of that 50-burger that we put on Carolina back in 2019, the Tevin Coleman 4-touchdown game. The top matchup that I'm excited to watch here will be Renardo Green versus either Teteroa McMillan or Xavier Legette. I imagine Lenore is going to cover one of those players, but Green has more size and length than Lenore, so in theory, he's a better matchup against two bigger-bodied receivers. I've got high expectations for Green in year 2, and I think that this is going to be a big test for him. In week 13, for the 4th time this season, the 49ers will travel cross-country and play on the road in the 10 a.m. slate, this time against Kevin Stefanski, Jim Schwartz, and the Cleveland Browns. This Browns roster sucks. I like some of the individual moves that they've made over the last year or so, but these guys are years away from making real noise in the AFC. No wonder they had to pay Myles Garrett $40 million a year to stick around. Now, with all that said, I'm going to be brave, and I'm going to bear this cross. This is a scheduled loss. We saw it in 2023 with Cleveland. Jim Schwartz gives this offense nightmares. Plus, you factor in the cross-country trip, the early start, and the fact that the Niners play on Monday night the week before, so they are already at a rest disadvantage. This game's going to be in late November, so we're on snow watch too. It's going to be an ugly game. It's going to be scrappy, and I think the Niners drop this one. It's not fun to hear, and I promise it is not fun to say, but I think the 49ers start 4-0, and then they limp into the bye week at 7-6. In terms of some key matchups for the Browns and Niners, I'm going to state the obvious, right? Trent Williams versus Myles Garrett is a Hall of Fame matchup. And while I'm sure Garrett will get his, there may be no bigger test in all of football than the Silverback Trent Williams. We finally arrive at the bye week, and I have to imagine at this point the Niners are on the outside looking in at the playoffs. Maybe they hold the 6 or 7 seed, but regardless, fans are not going to be satisfied. But not all hope is lost. This is adversity. I'm sure we'll get some learning moments and some development from the rookies and second-year guys, and ultimately, they're 7-6, still over 500, still in the playoff hunt with 4 games to go. Week 15 now, coming off the bye, Cam Ward and the Tennessee Titans come to town. I like Ward a whole lot. I've got a good buddy who went to Miami, and he's converted me onto the Cam Ward fan club, but I don't like much else about this roster. With a full week of rest and a full week of extra prep, I think the 49ers get a convincing W. Multiple scores, easily, strong defensive showing, and I think George Kittle goes off in my key matchup of the week. Kittle versus the Titans back 7. Who is covering George Kittle on this roster? Amani Hooker, Xavier Woods, Cody Barton, Otis Reese the fourth? Like, the answer is nobody. And I think we see a multi-touchdown day from Kittle here in week 15. Week 16 now, the 49ers play their final road game of the season in Indianapolis on Monday Night Football once again. Former 49ers DeForest Buckner and Charvarius Ward lead the Colts defense. Jonathan Taylor leads the offense. Will we see Daniel Jones, Anthony Richardson, Notre Dame legend Riley Leonard? I don't know. The roster is actually not too far away here, and my key matchup this week involves their quietly impressive offensive line. I want to see how the pass rush, but Michael Williams in particular, handles the very stout tackle duo of Bernard Raymond and Braden Smith. Raymond just got a big contract extension. Congratulations to him. Now, no disrespect to the Colts or the fans out there, but I'll take this team seriously once they've got a real quarterback. If Richardson becomes that, then this will be a great game. If not, and this is my prediction, give me the 49ers in this one. With 2 games to go, we get to one of the more important games on this schedule, Week 17 at home on Sunday Night Football versus Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears. Da Bears had quite the eventful offseason, adding 3 starters on the offensive line and 2 electric playmakers in Colston Loveland and Luther Burden III. And of course, maybe the biggest addition of all, the new coaches. Out goes Eberflus, in comes Ben Johnson and Dennis Allen to call the offense and defense respectfully. If the Bears take the leap, then folks around the league, I think this could very well be the 49ers' most important game. You know, both Johnson and Allen have given the Niners some trouble on their former teams with the Lions and the Saints, and the roster is much improved, but I have the 49ers winning at home in back-to-back primetime games, thanks in part to the key matchup of Deommodore Lenoir versus DJ Moore. I think limiting the passing game as much as possible and forcing Caleb to hold the ball like he did his rookie year is a possible avenue for victory, and I think that starts with CB1. Unlike the last few years of football, I think this Week 18 game for the 49ers is going to matter. At home versus the Seahawks in the rivalry jerseys, whatever they look like, I think the Niners will be jockeying for playoff position. I don't think the Seahawks will be in the playoff push, in all honesty, and I think the Niners take the win here in Week 18. They are rolling off the bye week, and I do believe in the talent difference. So a roller coaster up and down season lands the 49ers at a whopping 11 wins and 6 losses, the direct opposite of last year's record. I've got them going 4-0 to start, and then 3-6 in the middle of the year, and then ending the regular season on another 4-game win streak. If I'm to be believed, then the middle of the schedule is going to be a scary, scary time. But I think the late bye week will invigorate this team and keep the guys fresh heading into wildcard weekend. Yes, I did say wildcard weekend because I think that 11 wins is not going to be enough to win the NFC West. I've got the Rams at 11-6 as well, but because I have them sweeping San Francisco, I think the Niners are destined to be road warriors this year. 11-6, back to the playoffs, wildcard team. That's the official prediction. Do you agree? Am I too high? Am I too low? What will the Niners record be this year? What will the Niners' NFC West record be this year? Comment down below and give me all the answers because I can't wait to read them. Leave a like, leave a comment, and let me know if there's any topics you'd like to see me cover. Thank you all for watching, and subscribe for 49ers videos 5 days a week. I'm Brady Grustas, at Grustas Brady on X. This has been Niners Now, and I'll see you next week.